Murder in the first degree, premeditated homicide. It's the most serious charge tried in our criminal courts. You've heard a long and complex case, jurors, and it's now your duty to sit down and try and separate the facts from the fancy. One man is dead. The life of another is at stake. If there's a reasonable doubt in your minds as to the guilt of the accused, then you must declare him not guilty. If, however, there is no reasonable doubt, then he must be found guilty. Whichever way you decide, the verdict must be unanimous. I urge you to deliberate honestly and thoughtfully. You're faced with a grave responsibility. Thank you, men and women of the jury.
You know something? It's hot. You'd think they'd at least air condition this place. I just about dropped dead at court today.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, everyone's here. If there's anything you want, I will be right outside this house.
I never knew they locked the door.
Sure, they locked the door. What did you think?
I don't know. It just never occurred to me. 6 days. They should have finished it in 2. Talk, talk, talk. Did you ever hear so much talk about nothing?
Well, I guess they're entitled.
Everybody gets a fair trial. That's the system. Well, I suppose you can't say anything against it.
How'd you like that business about the knife? You ever hear a phonier story?
Well, you got to expect that. You know what you're dealing with it, right?
Yeah, I suppose. What's the matter? You got a cold?
It's a Lulu, you know. You know these hot weather colds can kill you?
All right, everyone. Let's take our seats.
Okay, all right.
You make it fast, Mr. Foreman.
How about sitting down? Woman at the window. How about sitting down?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Now it's tough to figure, isn't it? A kid kills his father, bang, just like that. Well, it's the element, you know. They let the kids run by. Maybe it serves them the best.
All right. Is everyone here?
The old woman is inside. I don't see her. There she is.
We'd like to get started.
Oh, forgive me, everyone. I did not mean to keep you waiting.
It's all right. Find a seat. All right. Now, you folks can handle this any way you want to. I mean, I'm not going to make any rules around here. We can discuss now and then vote. That's one way. Or we can vote now and then we can see where we stand.
Oh, let's vote now. Who knows? Maybe we can all go home.
Yeah, let's see who's where.
Right, let's vote now.
Anybody doesn't want to vote? All right. All those voting in favor of guilty, raise your hands. 9, 10, 11. That's 11 for guilty. All those voting not guilty, raise your hands. That's 1, 11 to 1, and now we know where we are.
Somebody's in left field. You think he's not guilty?
I don't know.
I never saw a guiltier man in my life. You sat right in court and heard the same thing I did. The man's a dangerous killer. You could see it.
He's 19 years old.
That's old enough. He knifed his own father 4 inches into the chest. Huh. An innocent little 19-year-old kid. They proved it a dozen different ways. Do you want me to list them?
No.
Well, then do you believe his story?
I don't know whether I believe it or not. Maybe I don't.
So, what'd you vote not guilty for?
There were 11 votes for guilty. I don't want to just raise my hand to send a boy off to die without talking about it first.
Well, who said it was easy for me?
No one.
What, just because I voted fast? I think he's guilty. And you're not going to change my mind if we sit here talking about this for 100 years.
Look, I don't want to change your mind. I just want to talk for a while. This boy's been kicked around all his life. He's lived in a slum since he was 9 years old, and his mother died since he was young. That's not a very good head start. He's a tough, angry kid. And you know why slum kids get that way? It's because we knock them once a day, every day. I think we ought to owe him a few words, that's all.
Hey, listen, ma'am. I don't mind telling you this, but we don't owe him a thing. The kid got a fair trial, didn't he? Do you even know how much does this trial cost? This kid is lucky he got one. Look, we're all grown-ups here. You're not going to tell us to believe in him after knowing what he is. I have lived among them all my life. You cannot believe a word that they say. You know that?
I don't know that. What a terrible thing for me to believe. Since when is dishonesty a group characteristic? You don't have monopoly on the truth.
All right. It's not Sunday. We don't need a sermon.
What this man is saying is very dangerous.
Oh, come on. I don't see any need for arguing like this. I think we ought to be able to behave like a decent people.
All right, let's discuss the facts and get on with it.
Okay, if we are going to discuss this case, let's discuss the facts.
That sounds fair enough. Supposing we go around the table once.
If you folks don't mind, I'm going to close the window. It was blowing on my neck.
I may have an idea here. I'm just thinking out loud now, and I feel it is up to us to convince this woman that she is wrong and we are right. Maybe we all can take a minute or two and discuss about the facts.
Okay,
All
let's
right.
do it.
Then I guess you're first.
Well, I think the boy is guilty. To me, it was obvious. I mean, nobody proved otherwise.
Nobody has to prove otherwise. The burden of the proof is on the prosecution. The defendant doesn't even have to open his mouth. That's in the Constitution, the Fifth Amendment. You've heard of it.
I have heard of it. I know what it means. I just thought the boy was guilty.
Okay, let's just discuss the facts. Number one, let's take the old man who lived on the second floor, right underneath the room where the murder took place. At 10 minutes after 12, on the night of the killing, he heard loud noises in the upstairs apartment. He said it sounded like a fight. Then he heard the kid say to his father, "I'm gonna kill you." A second later, he heard a body falling, ran to the door of his apartment, looked out, and saw the kid running down the stairs out of the house. Then he called the police. They found the father with a knife in his chest.
And the coroner fixed the time of death around midnight.
Right. Now what else do you want?
The boy's entire story is flimsy. He claimed he wanted the movies. That's a little ridiculous, isn't it? He couldn't even remember what picture he saw.
That's right. Did you hear that? You're absolutely right.
Listen, what about the woman across the street? If her testimony doesn't prove it, then nothing does.
That's right. She saw the killing, didn't she?
Let's go in order.
Hey, just a minute. Now here's a woman who is lying in a bed who cannot sleep. Damn, it's hot. Anyways, she looks outside the window, right across the street, and she sees the boy stick a knife onto his father. Now she's known this kid all his life, and his window is exactly opposite to us across the L track. And she's sure that she saw the boy do it, didn't she?
Through the windows of a passing elevated train?
And they proved in court that you can see through the windows of a passing elevator train and see what's happening on the other side. They proved it.
Well, let me ask you something. Why did you believe her? She's one of them, isn't she?
You're a pretty smart lady, aren't you?
Now take it easy.
Come on now. What are you letting her get you all upset for? Relax.
All right, let's calm down now. Number 5, it's your turn.
I'll pass it.
It's your privilege. How about you?
I don't know.
I started to be convinced with the testimony from the people across the hall. Didn't they say something about an argument between the father and the boy around 7 o'clock? I mean, I could be wrong.
I think it was 8 o'clock, not 7.
That's right. 8 o'clock. They heard the father hit the boy twice and the boy ran angrily out of the house. But what does that prove?
Well, it doesn't exactly prove anything. It just adds to the picture. I didn't say it proved anything.
Anything else?
No.
All right. How about you?
I don't know. I think most of it's already been said. I think, frankly, we're just wasting our time. I mean, take a look at the kid's record. At 15, he goes into reform school. He steals a car. He gets arrested for mugging. They even pick him up for a knife fight where they said he stabbed somebody in the arm. This is clearly a very fine boy.
Ever since he was 5 years old, his father beat him up regularly. He even used his fists.
So would I, a kid like that.
You're right. It's the kids. The way they are, they don't listen. I've got a kid. When she was 8 years old, she ran away from a fight. I saw her. I was so ashamed. I told her right out, I'm gonna toughen you up or I'm gonna bust you into little pieces trying. When she was 15, she slapped me in the face. She was big like an adult, I haven't seen her in 3 years. Rotten kid. You work your heart out. All right, let's just get on with this.
I think we are missing the point here. This boy, let's say, is a product of a filthy neighborhood and broken home. We can't help it. And we are not here to find out the reasons why slums are breeding grounds for criminals. They are, I know it, and so do you. Children who come out of the slum backgrounds are potential menace to society.
You said it there. I don't want any part of this, believe me.
I used to live in a slum all my life.
Wait a second.
I used to play in a backyard that was filled with garbage. Maybe it still smells in me.
Now let's be reasonable. There's nothing personal in here.
No, there is something personal. Come on now. He didn't mean you personally. Let's not be so sensitive.
I can understand this sensitivity.
Now let's stop bickering. We are wasting time here. It's your turn.
All right. I've had a very peculiar feeling about this trial. Somehow, I feel the defense counsel really didn't conduct a thorough cross-examination. I mean, he was appointed to defend the boy, yet he hardly seemed interested. Too many questions were left unasked.
What about the ones that were asked? Like, for instance, let's talk about that cute little switch knife, the one the fine, upright boy admitted buying.
All right, let's talk about it. Let's get it in here and take a look at it. Mr. Foreman, I'd like to see the knife again, please.
We all know what it looks like. I don't see why we have to look at it again. What do you think?
The lady has right to see exhibits in evidence.
Okay with me.
This knife is very pretty strong piece of evidence. Don't you agree?
I do.
Boy admits going out of the house at 8 o'clock after being punched by his father.
Or punched.
Or punched. He went to neighborhood store and bought this switch knife. Storekeeper got arrested following day when he bought this switch knife. And it's a very unusual knife. Even storekeeper admitted it and he said it's one of its kind he had in stock. Why did boy get it? As a gift to his friend, he says. Am I right so far?
Right?
You bet he's right. Now, listen to this man. He knows what he's talking about.
Next, boy claims on his way back home, the knife might have fallen through a hole in his coat pocket and he never saw it again. Now, there's the story, everybody. You know what actually happened? Boy went home with the knife and few hours later, he stabbed his father with it and even remembered to wipe up the fingerprints. Everyone connected to this case identified this knife. Now are you trying to tell us that somebody picked up this knife from the street, went to boy's house and stabbed his father with it just to be amusing?
No, I'm just saying it's possible that the boy lost his knife and someone else stabbed his father with a similar knife. It's possible.
Now take a look at this knife. This is very strange knife. I never seen such knife in my life before, and neither do storekeeper who sold this knife to the boy. Are you trying to make us accept a pretty incredible coincidence here?
I'm not trying to make anyone accept anything. I'm just saying it's possible.
And I'm saying it's not possible.
Whoa.
Look at that.
What are you trying to do?
What is this? Who do you think you are?
That's the same knife.
Quiet!
The same knife.
Let's be quiet.
Where did you get that?
I got it from a little junk shop, a corner from the boy's house. It cost just $2.
Now, listen to me. You pulled a real smart trick here, but you proved absolutely zero. Maybe there are 10 such knives like that. So what?
Maybe there are.
The boy lied, and you know it.
He may have lied. Do you think he lied?
That's the stupid question. Of course he lied.
Do you?
You don't have to ask me that. You know my answer. He lied.
Do you think he lied?
Well, I don't know.
Now, just a minute. Who do you think you are, the kid's lawyer? There are still 11 of us who think he's guilty. You are all alone. And what do you think you're going to accomplish? You want to be stubborn and hang this jury? He'll go right back into court and be found guilty sure as he was born.
You're probably right.
So, what are you going to do about it? We could be here all night.
It's just one night. A man may die.
Well, whose fault is that?
Maybe if we went over it again.
Did
What I mean-
anyone force him to kill his father?
I can't understand a word in here. Why do you all have to talk at once?
He's right. I think we ought to get on with it.
Well, what do you say? You are the one holding up the show.
I've got a proposition to make. I want to call for a vote. I want 11 jurors to vote by secret ballot. I'll abstain. If there are 11 votes for guilty, I won't stand alone. We'll take in a guilty verdict right now.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, that sounds fair enough. Is everyone agreed? Okay, pass this along. Guilty, 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 not guilty, guilty.
Well, how do you like that?
Who was it? I think we have the right to know.
Excuse me, this was a secret ballot. We agreed on this point, no? If some person wants it to remain secret,
What do you mean? There are no secrets in here. I know who it was. What is wrong with you? You come in here and you vote guilty? Then this slick lady starts to tear your heart out with stories about a poor little kid who just couldn't help becoming a murderer? So you change your vote? If that isn't the most sick.
Now hold it.
Hold it! We're trying to put a guilty man in the chair where he belongs. And all of a sudden, we're paying attention to fairy tales.
Wait, just a minute.
please. I would like to say something here. I have always thought that a person is entitled to unpopular opinions in this country. This is the reason I came here. I wanted to have the right to disagree. In my own country, I'm ashamed to say that.
Yeah, what do we have to listen to now? The whole history of your country?
Yeah, let's stick to the subject. What made you change your vote?
There's nothing for her to tell. She did not change the oath. I did.
Oh.
Maybe you'd like to know why?
No, we wouldn't like to know why.
Woman wants to talk.
Thank you. This woman here chose to stand alone against us. That's her right. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone, even if you believe in something very strong. She left the verdict up to us. She gambled for support, and I gave it to her. I would like to hear more. The vote is now 10 to 2.
Yeah, if the speech is over, let's move on, please.
Look, Mom, I was a little excited. Well, you know how it is. I didn't mean to get nasty. Nothing personal.
Let me ask you something. If the kid didn't kill him, who did?
As far as I know, we're supposed to decide whether or not the boy on trial is guilty or not. We're not concerned with anyone else's motives here.
Guilty beyond reasonable doubt. That's a very important thing to remember.
Everyone's a lawyer. Supposing you explain what your reasonable doubts are.
This is not easy for me. So far, it's just a feeling. A feeling I have. Perhaps you may not understand.
A feeling? What are we going to do? Talk about your feelings the whole night? What about the facts?
You said a mouthful. Listen, the old man heard the kid yell, "I'm gonna kill you." A second later, he heard the father's body falling. And then he saw the boy running out of the house 15 seconds after that.
That's right. And let's not forget about the woman across the street. She looked into the open window and saw the boy stab his father. She saw it, and if that is not enough for you...
That is not enough for me.
Oh, jeez. How you like her? Man, it's like talking into a dead phone.
The woman saw the killing through the windows of the moving elevated train. And that train had 5 cars, and she saw it through the last 2. She remembers the most insignificant details.
Well, what have you got to say about that?
I don't know. It doesn't sound right to me.
Well, why don't you think about it? Lend me a pencil. We might as well pass the time playing tic-tac-toe.
What? Tic-tac-toe? Come on, what are you guys doing?
Your turn.
You're playing tic-tac-toe.
Wait a minute.
This isn't a game.
Who do you think you are?
Now, hold on, let's take it easy.
I have got a good mind to slap her.
Now please, I don't want any fights in here.
Did you see her? The nerve, the absolute nerve.
All right, forget it. It doesn't mean anything.
How about sitting down?
This isn't a game. Who does she think she is?
Take a look at that sketch. How long do you think an elevated train going at top speed passes a given point?
What it has got to do with anything?
How long? Guess.
I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
What do you think?
Maybe about 10 to 12 seconds.
I'd say that was a fair guess. Anyone else?
About 10 seconds, perhaps.
Yes, about 10 seconds.
All right, let's say 10 seconds. What are you getting at?
This. An L takes 10 seconds to pass a given point. At that given point is in the window in which the murder took place. You can almost reach out of the window and touch the L train, right?
Yep.
Well, let me ask you guys this. How many of you have lived right next to the L? Well, I have. When your window is open and the train goes roaring by, the noise is unbearable. You can hardly hear yourself think.
All right, ma'am, let me ask you this. You can't hear yourself think. What's your point?
The old man said he heard the boy say, "I'm gonna kill you." And 1 second later, he heard the body fall. 1 second. That's the testimony, right?
Right.
The woman across the street looked through the windows of the last 2 L cars and saw the body fall. The last 2.
What
Right?
are you giving us here?
This. An L takes 10 seconds to pass a given point, or 2 seconds per car. The old man heard the boy say, "I'm gonna kill you," while the front of the L is roaring past his nose. There's no way he could have heard it.
What do you mean? Sure, he could have heard it.
Could he?
He said the boy yelled it out. That's enough for me.
He said 15 seconds and he was very positive about it.
You all are crazy. Why would the old man lie? What's he got to gain?
Attention, maybe?
You keep coming up with these bright sayings. Why don't you send one into the newspaper? They pay $2.
Why might the old man have lied? You have a right to be heard.
It's just that I looked at him for a very long time. The seam of his jacket was split under the arms. Did you notice that? He was an old man carrying a torn jacket with 2 canes. I think I know him better than anyone else here. This quiet, frightened, insignificant man has been nothing all his life. Nobody knows him for his 75 years. That's a very sad thing. A man like him needs to be recognized, to be questioned, to be listened, and to be quoted. That's a very important thing.
And you're trying to tell us he lied about a thing like this just to be important?
No, he would not really lie. Perhaps he thought that he heard those words and recognized the boy's face.
Well, that's the most fantastic story I've ever heard. How can you make up a thing like that? What do you know about it?
I speak from experience.
All right. Is there anything else? Let's get on with it.
Anybody want a cough drop?
I'll take one. Thanks. Now, I think that we proved that the old man couldn't have possibly heard the boy say, "I'm gonna kill you." But supposing he really did say this. This phrase, how many times have each of us used it? Probably hundreds. Junior, if you do this one more time, I'll murder you. Rocky, kill him. It doesn't actually mean that we're gonna kill someone.
Wait a minute. The phrase was, "I'm gonna kill you." And the kid screamed it out at the top of his lungs. Don't try and tell me he didn't mean it. Anybody who says a thing like the way he said it, they mean it.
And how they mean it?
Alright, well let me ask you something. Why would the boy shout something like that on the top of his lungs for the whole neighborhood to hear? He's much too bright for that.
Right? He's a common ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English.
He doesn't even speak good English.
I would like to change my vote to not guilty.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay, the vote is 9-3 in favor of guilty.
That isn't the end of it. What made you change your vote? Stories this woman made up? Gosh, she ought to work for American Detective Monthly. She'd make a fortune. The kid had a lawyer, did he not? Why did he bring this up?
Lawyers cannot think of everything.
You know, she just comes up with these stories out of thin air. Now we're supposed to believe the old man did not get up out of bed, run to the door, get there 15 seconds after the kid's beating it down the stairs after killing him? What, he just said he did so he could sound important?
Wait, did the old man say he ran to the door?
Ran, walked, what's the difference? He got there.
I don't remember what he said, but I don't see how he could have run.
He said he went from his bedroom to front door. That's enough, isn't it?
Wait, where was his bedroom again?
You're down the hall somewhere. I thought you remember everything. Do you remember that?
No. Mr. Foreman, I'd like to see the diagram of the apartment.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Why don't you just have him run the whole trial all over again so you get our thoughts straight?
Mr. Foreman?
I heard you.
All right. What's this for? How come you're the only one in the room who wants to see exhibits all the time?
I want to see this one too.
And I want to stop wasting time.
If we are going to start wading through all this nonsense about where the body was found,
We're not. We're just gonna find out how a man who's had 2 strokes in the last 3 years, walks with a pair of canes, can get to his front door in 15 seconds.
He said 20 seconds.
He said 15.
How does he know how long 15 seconds is? You can't judge that kind of a thing.
For an old man walking with canes, it's a long walk.
You saw the old man. Half the time he was confused. How could he be positive about anything?
Is this what you wanted?
That's right. Thank you.
May I?
Oh,
Thanks.
do me a favor. Just wake me up when this whole thing is over.
All right. Here's the diagram of the apartment in which the killing took place. Here are the L tracks. Here's the bedroom, the living room, the kitchen, the bathroom, and here's the hall. Here's the front door and the steps. Now, the old man was in his bed in that room. He got up, walked to his bedroom door, down the hall, opened up his front door to see the boy racing down the stairs. Am I right?
That's the story.
15 seconds after he heard the body fall.
All right.
His bed was right next to the window. It's 12 feet from the bedroom door. The length of the hall is 43 feet and 6 inches. That means he had to get out of bed, walked 12 feet to open up his bedroom door, walk another 43 feet down the hall to open up his front door, all in 15 seconds. Do you guys think this is possible?
You know that's possible.
He could only walk very slowly. They had to help him into the witness chair.
You make it sound like a long walk. It's not. What are you trying to do?
I want to try this thing. Let's see how long it took him. I'm going to pace up 12 feet, the length of the
recreate a thing like that.
Hand me a chair. This is the bedroom door. Now, how far would you say it's from here to the edge of that table?
I'd say it was about 20 feet.
Just about.
20 feet is close enough. So from here to the edge of this table and back is about 40 feet. That's length of the less in the hall, wouldn't you say?
A few feet maybe?
Look, this is insane. What makes you believe you can recreate such a thing?
According to you, it'll only take us 15 seconds. We can spare that. Anyone got a watch with a second hand?
Oh, I have.
When you want me to start, stamp your foot. That'll be the body falling. Let's just say he keeps his cane right next to his bed, right? Okay, I'm ready.
Come on, walk faster. The old man walked twice as fast as that.
This is, I think, even faster than the old man walked in the courtroom.
If you want to know faster, I will. Stop!
Right.
What's the time?
15, 20, 30, 31 seconds exactly.
31 seconds.
It's my guess that the old man was trying to get to his front door, heard someone racing down the stairs, and assumed it was the boy.
I think that's possible.
Assumed? Now listen to me, you people. I've seen all kinds of dishonesty in my day. But this little display takes the cake. Tell her, will you? You come in here with your heart bleeding all over the floor about slum kids and injustice, and you make up these wild stories. You have got some soft-hearted old melon ladies listening to you. Well, I'm not one of them. I'm getting real sick of it. What's the matter with you people? The kid is guilty. He's got to burn. We are letting him slip through our fingers here.
Our fingers? Are you his executioner?
I'm one of them.
Perhaps you'd like to pull the switch.
For this kid, you bet I would like to pull the switch.
I'm sorry for you.
Don't start with me.
What it must feel like to want to pull the switch?
Shut up.
You're a sadist.
Shut up.
You want to see this boy die because you personally want it, not because of the facts.
Shut up!
No!
Let me go! I'll kill her! I'll kill her!
You don't really mean you're going to kill me, do you?
Is there anything wrong, ladies and gentlemen?
No, there's nothing wrong. We're done with that. You can take that back, please.
Well, what are you looking at?
I don't see why we have to behave like children here.
Nor do I. We have a responsibility. This is a remarkable thing about democracy, that we are, what is the English word? Notified. That we are notified by mail to come down to this place and decide on the guilt or innocence of a man we have not known before. This is what makes us strong. We have nothing to gain or lose by our verdict. Let's not make this a personal thing.
Well, we are still nowhere. Who's got an idea?
I think maybe if we had another vote. What do you say, Mr. Foreman?
It's all right with me. Anybody doesn't want to vote?
Okay, let's do it.
I want an open ballot. Let's call out our votes. I want to know who stands where.
That sounds fair enough. Then I'll guess I'll call off your juror numbers. I vote guilty. Juror number 2?
Not guilty.
Number 3?
Guilty.
Number 4?
Guilty.
Number 5?
Not guilty.
Number 6?
Not guilty.
Number 7?
Guilty.
Number 8?
Not guilty.
Number 9?
Not guilty.
Number 10?
Guilty.
Number 11?
Not guilty.
Number 12?
Guilty.
That's 6 to 6.
I'll tell you guys something. The crime is being committed right in this room.
Vote is 6 to 6.
I'm ready to walk into court right now and declare a hung jury. There's no point on this going on anymore.
I'd go for that too. Let's just take this to the judge and let the kid take his chances with 12 other people.
You mean you still don't think there's room for reasonable doubt?
No, I don't.
I beg your pardon? Maybe you don't understand the term reasonable doubt.
What do you mean maybe I don't understand it? And who are you to talk to me that way?
Wait a second. Nobody around here is asking where you came from.
I was born right here.
Or where your father came from. Maybe it wouldn't hurt us to take a few tips from people who come running here. Maybe they learn something we don't know. We're not so perfect.
Please, I'm used to it. It's all right. Thank you.
It is not all right.
Okay, I apologize. Is that what you want?
That's what I want.
All right, let's stop arguing. Who's got something constructive to say here?
Well, something's been bothering me a little. This whole business of the stab wound and the downward angle of it,
Don't tell me we are going to start that. They went over it in court.
I know they did, but I don't go along with it. The boy is 5 feet 8 inches tall. His father was 6'2". That's a difference of 6 inches. It's a very awkward thing to stab down into the chest of someone who's half a feet taller than you are.
Look, you're not going to be satisfied till you see it again. I'm going to give you a demonstration. Somebody, get up.
No way.
Get up, somebody.
She's gonna get up?
Okay, now watch this. I don't want to have to do it again. Is that 6 inches?
That's more than 6 inches.
Okay, let it be more.
That's not funny.
Funny.
What's the matter with you?
Now, just calm down. Nobody's hurt, are they?
No, nobody's hurt.
All right, there's the angle. Take a look at it. Down and in. If I was in a dark alley some night, that's how I stab a taller man in the chest. And that's how it was done. Take a look at it and tell me I'm wrong.
Down and in. I guess there's no argument there.
Have you ever stabbed a man?
Of course not.
Did you?
All right, let's not be silly. I have a right to protect myself.
Did you?
No, I didn't.
Where do you get all your information about how it's done?
What do you mean? It's just common sense.
Well, let me ask you something. The boy was an experienced knife fighter. He was even sent to reform school for knifing someone. Isn't that so?
That's right.
But look at it. Doesn't it seem like an awkward way to handle a knife?
What are you asking me for?
Wait a second. Can you give me that?
Have you ever seen a knife fight?
Yes, I have.
In the movies?
In my backyard, on the stoop, in the vacant lot across the street. Too many of them. Switch knives came with the neighborhood where I lived. Funny, I didn't think of it before. I guess you try to forget these things. Anybody who's ever had any experience with switch knives would have never stabbed downward. Switch knives can be handled that way. They use it underhanded.
Then he couldn't have made the kind of wound which killed his father.
Not a chance. Not if he's ever had any experience with switch knives.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, neither do I. You're giving us a lot of mumbo jumbo here.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know.
What about you?
I'll tell you. I'm just sick and tired of this. We are getting nowhere fast. Let's just wrap this all up and go home. I'm changing my vote to not guilty.
You're what?
You heard me. I've had enough.
What do you mean you have had enough? That's no answer.
I think perhaps you're right. This is not an answer. What kind of man are you? You have sat here and voted guilty with everybody else because you have some theater tickets burning a hole in your pocket? Now you've changed the vote for the same reason. I do not think you have the right to play with a man's life like that. That is an ugly and terrible thing to do.
Now look, you can't talk to me that way.
I can talk to you like that. If you want to vote not guilty, then do it because you're convinced the man is not guilty. If you think he's guilty, then vote that way. Or don't you have the guts to do what you think is right?
Now listen.
Is it guilty or not guilty?
I told you, not guilty.
Why?
I don't have to.
You have to say it. Why?
I don't think he's guilty.
I want to call for another vote.
Okay, there's another vote call for. I guess the quickest way is to show off your hands. Does anyone have problem with that? All right, all those voting in favor of not guilty, raise your hands. That's 9. All those voting in favor of guilty, raise your hands. That's 3. Vote is 9-3 in favor of acquittal.
I don't understand you old people. How can you believe this kid is innocent? You know how these people lie. I don't have to tell you that. They don't know what the truth is. And let me tell you that they don't need a big reason to kill someone either. They get drunk, bang, someone's lying in the gutter. Nobody's blaming them. That's how they are. You know what I mean? They're violent. Human life doesn't mean much to them as it does to us. Where are you two guys going? Look, these people are drinking and fighting all the time, and if somebody gets killed, so someone gets killed. They don't care. Of course, there is something good about them too. Hey, look, I am the first to say that. I have known few of them who are decent, but that's the exception. Most of them, it's like they don't have any feelings. They can do anything. What's going on in here? I'm trying to say my piece and you guys better listen to me. There's not one of them who is any good. We better watch out. Take it from me, this kid is on trial. You know what I'm talking about. And listen to me. What are you trying to do? I'm trying to tell you something.
If you open your mouth again, I'm going to split your skull.
I was just trying to tell you something.
All right, sit down, everybody. I still believe boy is guilty of murder. I'll tell you why. To me, the most damning evidence was the woman across the street who claimed she saw the murder committed that night.
That's right. As far as I'm concerned, that's the most important testimony.
All right, let's go over her testimony. What exactly did she say?
Okay, I believe I can recount it accurately. She said she went to bed around 11 o'clock that night. Her bed was next to open window and she could look out of the window while lying down and see directly into the window across the street. She tossed and turned for over an hour, unable to fall asleep. Finally, she turned towards the window at 12:10, and as she looked out, she saw boy stabbing his father. As far as I can see, that's the most unshakable testimony.
That's what I mean. That's the whole case.
Frankly, I don't see how we can vote for an acquittal. What do you think about it?
Well, maybe there is so much evidence to sift.
What do you mean, maybe? He's absolutely right. You can throw out all the other evidence.
That was my feeling.
What time is it?
10 minutes of 6.
It's late. You don't suppose they would let us go home and finish this in the morning, right?
Not a chance.
I got a kid at home with moms. No chance?
No, not a chance.
Pardon me, but can't you see the clock without your glasses?
Not clearly. Why?
Oh, I don't know. Look, this may be a dumb thought, but what do you do when you wake up at night and want to know what the time is?
What do you mean? I put on my glasses and look at the clock.
You don't wear them to bed.
Of course not. Nobody wears glasses to bed.
What's all this for?
Well, I was thinking, you know the woman who testified that she saw the killing? She wore eyeglasses.
So does my grandmother. So what?
Your grandmother isn't a murder witness.
Look, stop me if I'm wrong, but this woman wouldn't have worn her eyeglasses to bed, would she?
Wait a minute. Did she wear glasses at all? I don't remember.
Of course she did. The woman wore bifocals. They look quite strong. I remember this very clearly.
Yes, she wore bifocals and she never removed them.
Yeah, she did wear glasses. Funny, I never thought of it.
Look, She wasn't wearing him in bed, that's for sure. She testified that in the midst of her tossing and turning, she casually looked out the window. The murder was taking place, and the lights went out a split second later. She didn't have time to put on her glasses. Now, honestly, I think she thought she saw the boy kill his father. I say she only saw a blur.
How do you know what she saw? Maybe she's farsighted. How does she know all these things?
Does anyone still think there's not room for reasonable doubt?
I think the boy is guilty.
Anyone else?
No, I'm convinced.
You're alone.
I don't care whether I'm alone or not. I have a right.
You have a right.
Well, I already told you I think the kid's guilty. Now what else do you want?
Your arguments.
I gave you my arguments.
We're not convinced. We want to hear them again. We have time.
Listen, what's the matter with you? You are the one. You made all the arguments. You can't turn now. A guilty man's gonna be walking the streets. A murderer. He's got to burn. Stay with me.
I'm sorry. That's a reasonable doubt in my mind.
We're waiting.
Well, you are not going to intimidate me. I'm entitled to my opinion. It's gonna be a hung jury. That's it.
There's nothing we can do about it, except hope that some night, maybe in a couple months, you'll get some sleep.
You're all alone. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone.
All right.
Verdict is in.